Hi guys. So this is not actually the video I planned to do this week, but it's a topic that's just really fresh in my mind, I guess, and I wanted to talk about it. And I mean, you've seen the video title, so there's no reason to keep you in suspense or anything. I want to talk about AI art in the doll industry, or AI art, I guess I should say, is to make my feelings on the matter abundantly clear right out of the gate. And I'm going to be upfront with you guys. I don't really want to talk about this. I don't think it's a very fun topic. I actually find it very, very frustrating. But it's something I think I need to talk about because I do have a presence, a platform in the doll community, and this is something that affects us as collectors, and I just thought it would be helpful for everyone, collector, consumer, company, employee, whatever, to make not only my feelings on the matter known, but the community's feelings. So I do apologize if this video is perhaps a little more serious than usual. It also won't be very heavily edited or anything, I don't think, because I'm just here to talk. And as far as talking goes, I think it's best to start at the very beginning. So, AI, artificial intelligence. It has become something of a buzzword as of late, so for your benefit and for mine, let's break down the definition first. In the broadest sense, artificial intelligence is exactly what it says it is, an example of intelligence exhibited by a machine. In a practical sense, artificial intelligence is the ability for a machine or a computer to perform complex tasks generally done by humans or other intelligent beings. An example I think everyone would be familiar with: computer-controlled characters in video games. That's AI. In this case, we are talking about AI artwork. So, in the strictest definition, artwork that is computer generated. And I want to go on record right now saying that artificial intelligence, in my personal opinion, is not a bad thing. I don't think it's scary. I don't think it's inherently unethical. AI has a lot of uses in modern society, and it even has uses in the realm of art and design that have been around for quite a very long time, and again, are not a bad thing. The point I think I'm trying to make here is that AI is broad. It's very, very broad. What I want to talk about specifically in this video is generative AI. So what is generative AI? Well, thank you so much for the excellent question. Generative AI, as defined by IBM, is, quote, deep learning models that can generate high-quality text, images, and other content based on the data they were trained on. And what this means, essentially, is that, yes, these computers can generate artwork. You can type in, I don't know, Bratz doll riding on a shark or something, and it can give you an image of that to the best of its abilities. Pretty amazing technology, right? But pay attention to the second part of that explanation. Based on the data they were trained on. Yeah, that's where a lot of the ethical concerns regarding generative AI come in, because these images do not actually appear out of thin air. The models have to be fed and trained on existing artworks, existing images, existing photographs in order to create new ones. And a lot of the time, I would argue actually the vast majority of the time, the people who owned these images, who created these artworks, who took these photographs, did not consent to having their images used in training these models. These models are being trained on stolen images and are also being used specifically to replicate the unique styles of these artists. And while, yes, theoretically, it's possible that a generative AI model was trained exclusively on images that were sourced ethically, the fact remains that we have no way of knowing that for certain. Generative AI is currently really completely unregulated. There are no laws or safeguards in place to prevent people from stealing artwork and using it to train AI, then using it to make money theft by literally every definition. I was going to maybe cite a specific case here as an example, but there was too many to choose from. The companies all over the place are scraping, and that's the term they use, scraping the internet for quote unquote publicly available content to train AI models. As if posting something on the internet is saying that you're now allowed to steal this content and make money off of it. No, that's not how copyright works. That's not how anything works. I don't want to get too derailed here because talking about the ethics of AI is a very long and a very complex discussion. I just wanted to get you up to speed on why we have concerns about companies using this technology commercially, specifically in the doll industry. Look, if you want to use your own personal time to create AI artwork, that's literally whatever. How am I going to stop you, right? The most I can do is sit here and channel some extremely bad vibes in your direction. And if you're already familiar with AI artwork, then I would wager a guess that extremely bad vibes do not bother you. No, what I'm here to discuss are companies using this technology, incorporating it into their products, and selling it. Because it's happening right now, and I have a feeling that it's only going to become more and more prominent. So as of right now, I can think of 3 major examples of fashion doll companies incorporating AI artwork into their products and or promotional materials. The first that I recall was actually quite a while back in, I want to say September or October of 2023, so basically an entire year ago. At Toy Fair, the long-dead brand Shibajuku Girls announced a comeback, now under the name Shibajuku Anime. If you don't know, Shibajuku Girls were a line of J-Fashion-inspired dolls, also heavily inspired by pull-up dolls that were around in 2015, 2016. Rather than decorating the booth with, I don't know, promotional artwork of the dolls they plan to release, they instead surrounded it with AI-generated artwork of random anime girls, and to make matters worse, the dolls in question, which were just Photoshop mock-ups by the by, were clocked for using outfits blatantly stolen and edited from other dolls, which I think really speaks to the kind of company one would expect to be using AI artwork, which is to say, lazy, cheap, thoughtless, and somehow full of audacity. More recently, it was confirmed that Mattel would be incorporating generative AI into their products. Now, currently, it is their official stance that AI is not being used in any of their dolls or in the design process at all, but rather only in the packaging. And we already have a few examples of this, most notably in this year's Holiday Barbie, and also the one Gabrielle tribute doll. In both instances, you can see AI-generated backgrounds in their packaging. And even more recently, the Fresh Beats dolls came under controversy for the use of AI in their new web series, which, to be clear, is mostly CGI animated without the use of AI, but there are instances of them using AI-generated artwork within the series. So, yes, these uses of AI are right now very, very small, easy to miss even, almost unnoticeable for a lot of people. So why is it an issue? It's an issue because this is only the beginning. If we are complacent and we let these companies do just little small touches of AI here and there, then that's sending the message that we're okay with them utilizing it more and more, until eventually, and I say this completely unironically, the end goal is the entire design process being automated by AI. And you can say that's dramatic, but why should I have any faith that these companies would show any kind of restraint when they've already shown us that they're willing to cut corners in any way they can? But darling, you might be thinking, you haven't even explained why AI designed dolls are such a bad thing. Don't worry, I'm gonna tell you. For one, AI art is ugly. It's absolute garbage slop from a dumpster. It sucks. A lot of the time, it's incredibly easy to identify because it just carries this quality of wrongness. Like, fundamentally, as a human being with a capacity for beauty and glamour, my spirit just rejects it. And I actually think this is the least pressing issue with AI designed dolls, because we're seeing AI artwork accelerate and improve at such a rapid pace. A few months ago, it couldn't even generate a hand with less than 15 fingers. And now here we are with AI generated videos decent enough to fool a good portion of the population, the less tech-savvy side of the population, but even so. There will come a point where AI can generate beautiful, stunning, aesthetically pleasing artwork indistinguishable from human-created artwork, and it might be very soon. But I don't care how beautiful the AI-generated dolls might be, I still don't want them. For one, I don't buy and collect dolls just to pay money for a product. And yes, I realize there's a certain amount of dissonance here for me to approach this topic as someone who is in such a consumerist hobby. I acknowledge that, but I love dolls because I value the creativity in them. I consider them works of art, and I know most other collectors share that mindset. And even if I want to talk about children buying toys and not collectors, I think children deserve products that have effort and thought and love put into them. I don't want products for children that were just generated from pressing a button. And while AI generated products might look good on an aesthetic level, and I just truly do not believe that a computer can ever replicate human emotion or human design or ever know the human thought process when approaching a creative task. There will always be a clear difference in products that were created with care and thought and those created purely to make money. And people can tell the difference. And more to that, I value product designers. I value doll designers. They're such an important, integral part of the doll industry, and it literally cannot exist without them. We need human designers, human artists. In the Barbie and the Monster High collecting communities especially, we know these designers by name. We can identify their quirks and their design cues on the dolls they make. We know their preferences and their inspirations and what drives them to create. Just look at, Fangvote Genifier. Annalise Lau, the designer, was very transparent about her inspirations for designing the doll. How much of it was influenced by her culture, her heritage, her unique eye for fashion, her love for fashion, her passion for wanting to deliver a great product to fans. I'm sorry, but there's literally no way in hell a computer can replicate that kind of design process. It simply isn't happening, and I don't want it to happen. In the case of the Fresh Beats dolls, the official Instagram has actually been responding to comments expressing concern over the use of AI, and their responses have been, I think, a little disappointing. And in all fairness, the use of AI seems to be almost wholly on the side of the studio creating and producing this web series rather than the Dr. Lisa company, who is the company behind the dolls. But it's still just not a good look to be supporting this sort of thing, especially from a company that uses the tagline, authentic, diverse dolls. Because there is literally nothing authentic or diverse about AI. A commitment to diversity needs to extend to the workplace, and this would have been a great opportunity to showcase and uplift artists of color. Instead, you are using technology that is known to steal from artists, and to what? Save money? Because there's really only one reason you would choose to use AI over hiring a real artist, and it's to save money. Because aside from cost and maybe time, there is literally no benefit to AI over commissioning an artist. So that says to me, as a company, you value money and time more than you value creating a worthwhile product, more than you value artistic integrity, more than you value your staff and employees, more than you value diversity and authenticity like you claim to. And it's not a bad thing for a company to care about money, to want to make money. But it's also important to want a positive relationship with your consumers, with the people who are supposed to give you money. And I don't want to give my money to you now. And even if you just want to use AI in packaging design, well, a packaging designer is still a job. There's still people who are trained and specialize in this. Did you know Garrett Sander, the creator of Monster High, got his start at Mattel working in packaging design? That was his job before he was given the opportunity to create Monster High. If Mattel at that time had been using AI in their packaging and not relying on designers for that job, then we wouldn't have gotten Garrett Sander. We wouldn't have gotten Monster High. Just imagine how many more artists, how many more opportunities are going to be forcibly pushed out of the industry if we allow AI to become more prevalent. It also comes back to the fact that generative AI, by nature, has to be fed artwork to train itself on. If it's going to evolve, it needs a constant source of new material. It can't learn like a human can with time and practice. The same model is always going to be the same model, and it's always going to put out the same range of stuff unless given some new material. If we eliminate the human element of design entirely, then we're never going to get any new innovations in design. The industry is just gonna stagnate. And the alternative is keeping humans in the process, but only to create new material to feed the AI rather than directly designing products, which sounds frankly bleak and depressing and incredibly bad. And I already know what the responses to this will be like because they're very consistent with this sort of thing. You're afraid of innovation. You're afraid of progress because I do realize it comes off like I'm sitting here and shaking my fist at all the new technology. But the thing is, I don't find generative AI to be particularly innovative. It's novel, it's interesting, it has its applications, but it's not innovative. It doesn't do anything humans are incapable of. I'm not worried about companies utilizing new technology to make people's lives easier. I'm worried about companies utilizing technology that is unregulated and using it specifically to replace human talent so they can spend less money. Because it's not, chores they're attempting to automate, it's creativity they're attempting to automate. But who am I, right? I'm just one person, just one twink on YouTube who collects little plastic women. Actually, I'm 28 now. Can I still call myself a twink? Much to think about. Anyways, I wanted to get feedback from the community too, so I put out a form and I asked very plainly, what are your thoughts on AI being used in the doll industry? Do you support the use of AI in the design process? And I got a lot of responses, a lot of really, really good responses. I wish I could read them all, but I will say that they were overwhelmingly negative towards AI. I didn't run any official calculations, but I would say that 95% were negative towards AI. 4% were not totally against AI, but wanted more regulations and transparency if it's being used. And maybe 1% was in favor of AI. I realize this is my audience. It's not like the general population. And I've spoken in the past about my distaste for generative AI, so I acknowledge it's not a completely unbiased sample. But I do think my audience represents the doll community pretty well, and they deserve to have their views and thoughts be heard. So here's a few that I selected. It's just going to feed into the cycle of companies creating products that are the same as the other currently popular products on the market. This will leave the market stale and won't result in any creative development. Generative AI in its current unregulated state is actively harmful to artistic expression. AI-generated content being used, let alone mass-produced for consumers, ultimately showcases a careless disregard of companies towards not only their creatives, but also their consumer base. A huge overlap of doll collector and artist is too big to ignore, And even towards non-artists, it's insulting to the intelligence of the consumer by giving them a mindless creation that was produced by prompts on the machine. Dolls, at their core, are meant to be playthings that allow children to explore the world and develop and express their creativity. There is no exploration, self-development, or creativity in AI, therefore it does not belong in dolls. It's just lazy. When it comes to things like box art, it's slightly more understandable how it could be tempting, but I do think it's just lazy. For the dolls themselves, completely inexcusable. My argument boils down to the same thing I say for AI writing, images, video. Why would I want to read or engage with something that a human couldn't be bothered to make? And I think it would just be one more way for companies to not pay their employees. So consider this an open plea to any company that produces fashion dolls, or even wants to or plans to produce fashion dolls. I understand it might be tempting to use generative AI in the creation process. I understand that it's appealing to save time and money on what appears to be a convenient, cutting-edge technology. But please understand me when I tell you that it is highly unnecessary at best and completely unethical at worst. By using AI, you save money, but you risk losing the respect of your consumer base. You save time, but you remove the vital, important, human elements of the design and creation process. Artists and designers are not artists and designers because they consider their jobs to be unnecessary hurdles to overcome. They are artists and designers because they love to create and design. And the creativity they contribute to products is not something a computer could ever hope to achieve. To put it in simple terms, generative AI right now has no place in the doll industry. It will not replace the incredible artists and designers that brought us where we are today, and we shouldn't even be allowing it to try. As consumers, we need to make that point abundantly clear, so viewers, I urge you to use your voices. Be vocal about what you do and don't support. If you disagree with everything in this video and you want to support AI-generated fashion dolls, by all means, go out and buy them. Those who don't support them, do the opposite. I can't tell you what to do, but I can at least tell you to make decisions with purpose. In any case, though, thank you for watching. Not entirely sure how to sign this one off because I think I said everything I wanted to and then some. I guess comment your thoughts down below, whether you agree or disagree. And also be sure to like and subscribe for any future fashion doll content. Thank you.